Official picks time. Gun to your head, the cartel is waterboarding you, saying, give me the winner. Who's going to win the fight? UFC 306 edition. Noche 306 edition. Riyadh season. UFC Noche 306. However you want to say it. It's UFC 306 in my book. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. We're going to go through and give you every single pick. Not a bet. This is a pick. Who do I think's going to win? Gun to my head. Who do I think's going to win on the card? We got 10 fights to talk about. And they're decent, man. They're decent. They're decent. We'll see how it goes. We're going to go through. We'll start with the first fight of the night. Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Aoriqileng. It's Raul Rosas Jr. Not much to say here. I think he can get a takedown pretty early. I think he could finish him pretty early. But if he doesn't, he could probably just ride out a decision victory. I don't think Aoriqileng's very good. I think Rosas still getting better every single fight. He's got really solid grappling. That did not look good on Aoriqileng. If Johnny Munoz is taking you down, if he's getting your back in round one, I think Raul Rosas Jr. could probably take your back in round one and probably finish you. So, give me Raul Rosas Jr. for the official pick. That will definitely be the pick, boys. Like, come on. Damn, I'm not taking Aoriqileng. You know, if Aoriqileng, if he's having trouble with Jay Perrin, just look what Raul Rosas did to Jay Perrin. Okay, that's an easy dub for Raul. Move along. We got Edgar Chairez, Joshua Van. Now, this one's very tricky to me. I don't know what version of Joshua Van we're going to get here. But if we go off the version of Joshua Van that we've gotten every single fight, I think he wins the fight. The problem is, he got knocked out 2 months ago. And Edgar Chairez does have a little bit of pop. He's got a little bit of pop. He's the bigger fighter here, longer fighter. And I think he could, I mean, every single Josh Van fight, that's the problem with the way the guy fights is it gets hit a lot. He's there to be hit. And if you're there with a counter shot and you have some decent power, you can tag him. And we saw last time out, he's not indestructible. He can be hurt. So there is the red flags there, but overall I think Joshua Van's a better fighter. On the ground, Chairez might have an ability to lock up a submission, but he hasn't landed an official takedown in the UFC, so that's not going to really help if he can't get the fight to the ground. Maybe we see it here. But Joshua Van, in all reality, probably just pressures his way forward, uses that pace, uses that motor, uses his boxing, and gets a decision victory. So give me Joshua Van for the official pick. Move along. We got Yasmin Jauregui. Ooh, Yasmin Jauregui. I'm coughing just trying to say that shit. Yasmin taking on Souza. Not really a Souza guy. Not a huge Yasmin guy either, but I was pretty high on her when she came to the UFC. She looked pretty solid in her debut. She got a nice knockout her second fight out, and then bang, she gets starched by Denise Gone. We got to reassess some stuff, okay? The problem is, Jauregui is a little bit hittable. She's a little bit hittable. Why? Because she's there to be hit. She's kind of like a Joshua Van, except not as much forward pressure, but she's just there standing in front of you the entire fight. She's not really going to mix in any takedowns. She has solid volume, but like I said, she's there to be hit. And she not really have like a big wrestling game. I know she is a long time in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but she never uses it in her fights. So I think on the feet she will have a technical edge. She can be cracked, though. And Ketlin Souza, a win over Monarch Man ain't going to do it for me. I think the UFC is really trying to set up Yasmin to get a win here in the Sphere at Noche UFC, and I think they gave her an opponent that they think she can beat. But Ketlin Souza is not terrible, but I just don't think she's on the level of Yasmin Jauregui here. So give me Yasmin for a pick. Once again, these are not picks, or these are not bets. These are picks. Picks, not bets. If you want my bets, jump in the Home of Fight Picks Premium membership. The link is down in the description below. This is a fight where I'm not sure if I will have a bet on it, but I'm forced to give you a pick. And it's one that I've gone back and forth on the entire week. And I'm just going to have to go with what my initial read was. And that is Manuel Torres. Because Manuel Torres is a motherfucker in round one. Dangerous as all hell. Really solid combinations on the feet. He is hittable, though. He took a couple shots from Nicholas Mota, took a couple shots from Chris Duncan, but he did show a chin. But he also showed that he's very hittable. But he hit his opponents a lot harder and got the knockout and got a submission there. I don't really like his level of competition in the UFC. I think Chris Duncan's okay, but the other wins are meh, in my opinion. But he's a motherfucker in round 1. I think he can take round 1. I think he could probably take half of round 2. And then as the fight progresses, I think Bahamondes is going to take over. The thing is, the fight may not make it that far because I looked at Bahamondes' fights in the past, and he kind of shells up, or he's hittable early, and he kind of shells up when he gets rocked with a big shot. He's never been knocked out, but Makdessi hit him with a big shot, and he kind of stumbled a little bit, shelled up, but still survived. Aoriqileng just kind of pressured him down right off the jump, threw some hard shots, landed a couple, and he kind of shelled up again, fell to the ground, and found himself off his back. So those are red flags for Bahamondes, but I do think if the fight progresses, the way he's active on his feet, just with his jab, with his front kicks, it's going to tire out Manuel throughout the fight, and he will take over later. If it hits the 3rd round, I think Bahamondes wins that at a pretty significant clip. But I'm going to trust in Manuel Torres here for my pick. Probably not one I'm going to be betting. I will take him for a pick just because I think he's a little bit more of a dynamic athlete. I think he's got more finishing upside in this fight, and I'm just going to trust that he's a professional. He could go 3 rounds. So give me Manuel Torres for the pick, and we can move on. Aldana and Norma Dumont. This is one where my initial read was Norma Dumont. And I really tried to get to a spot where I just don't think it's Norma Dumont, but I think it's Norma Dumont. Why? Because Aldana is 36 years of age, and if you look at when her opponents try to take her down, they do. They do take her down. And when they take her down, she's usually losing. Outside of a fluke liver up kick, she's losing fights where she gets taken down. Now, you can go all the way back to her initial UFC career, and you could see, oh, she landed 1 takedown, but or she got taken down once, but she still won the fight. Yeah, it was against absolute cans. I just think Norma Dumont is going to be able to use those thick thighs, get on the inside, put her up against the clinch, drag her down to the ground, and lay on her. I hate that that's the game plan, but that's the game plan for Norma Dumont, especially in this fight, because I don't think she can really stand with her. I think she can make it somewhat competitive, kick the legs, throw all this dumb stuff out there that she's not really trying to land too heavily, and then go and try to close the distance, get the takedowns, and lay your big rumpa-dump on top of her. And I think she does that. But this isn't a live crowd at the Sphere, not really thinking a lot of fans are going to like that type of fight, so she's probably going to get booed, and maybe they stand him up, and maybe Aldana looks good. But I just think, this is one I'm probably not going to be betting on either, but for the pick, I think I got to go with Norma Dumont, just because I think the wrestling edge is there, and I think it's a path where she could take it and run away with it. So give me Norma Dumont for a pick. To the main card, we got Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osbourne. I don't know, I really want to get to an Ode Osbourne here, just because he's an underdog, but after further review, I just don't think I can do it. I know Ronaldo is still very green in the UFC, but he does have a lot of fights for a guy that's only his 2nd UFC fights. He's, 18 fights in? For a Mexican guy, it's not bad. It's a good amount of fights. So his fight against Dennis Bondar, I could not believe. I remember watching it and being like, holy shit, this dude is just eating stuff. And then I went back and watched it, and holy shit, dude, the guy's got a granite chin. A granite chin. Bondar landed some bombs on him. Now, granted, he was trying to go into a takedown with it, but he's throwing full-on overhand rights, landing flush. And Ronaldo, it's like he didn't even get hit by it, but he got hit flush, and then he would get taken down. So I don't think his striking defense is that good, and I don't think his takedown defense is that good for Ronaldo Rodriguez. But the problem with Ode, I don't really think highly of Ode. I watch his fights, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Well, what's the plan here? He's got decent stand-up, but he's not a guy that can run away with a fight technically, and he's not a guy that he has solid power, and he's an explosive athlete, and he's long, but he just doesn't really set anything up. Like, he's just going in there. If he goes, and he throws with really snappy punches, but at times he just doesn't. And then, of course, recently we've seen the grappling deficiencies. And I think we saw last time, if Ronaldo Rodriguez gets into a grappling match, I think he can handle himself, and he submitted Bondar in the second round. So I'm going to go with Ronaldo Rodriguez, but, you know, the guy's still very young in his UFC career, and I think there are a lot of holes that maybe Osbourne can exploit, but for now, I think I got to go with him. Give me Ronaldo to get the dub. Moving on, we got Daniel Zellhuber taking on Esteban Ribovics. This is one where I think it's going to come down to a very close decision. I honestly think Esteban Ribovics has a good chance to win this fight. I've never been a huge guy on Daniel Zellhuber, just based on the fact that he's looked at as a guy that's super good. And I think he's getting better, and I think he could get there. It's just like his frame, his stature, and the way he fights, it's pretty technical. It looks nice, and I think that's why a lot of people get behind him. But the thing is, Esteban Ribovics ain't going to bring that type of fight. Like, he's going to bring a dog fight. He's going to bring forward pressure. He's going to bring a granite chin. He's going to bring just pace, and an ability to just walk through the fire. So I think Esteban can make this fight competitive, and I think he can make it to a decision. I don't think Zellhuber's going to finish him. I think, if anything, Ribovics finishes Zellhuber, just because we've seen Zellhuber get cracked in the past. Who was it, by Yagos? Like, he was on shaky leg against Christos Yagos. Now, it was round one. Yagos is usually dangerous in round one and fades as the fight goes on. But, you know, if Ribovics cracks him in round one, Ribovics, I don't think it's going to fade. So I think Ribovics is definitely live here. But I do think as the fight progresses, I think Zellhuber will probably start to get a little bit more of his timing, and I think he'll be able to stay a little bit more at range. If he can get his jab going, he's got a great jab. If he can get his jab going and just really make it hard for Ribovics to get on the inside where he wants to be, then he's got a good chance to win this fight. For the official pick, I'm going to go with Daniel Zellhuber. But I'm not betting that. If anything, I'm looking at the Ribovics side, but I'm sure some people will not like that. But this is gun to your head type of picks, and I got to take Daniel Zellhuber to win this. And we can move on. Brian Ortega taking on Diego Lopes. So I'm still not really sold on Brian Ortega. Why? Because, you know, he got a win against Yair Rodriguez. When I say I'm not sold, I'm saying I'm not sold on him just coming back and being this title contender. You know, like, I love that he won, and I like the guy, but I think this is a tough matchup. Like, when he fought Yair Rodriguez, he got his ass whooped until he was able to slow Yair down, take him down to the ground, because Yair has no takedown defense. He's weak. And when he took him down, he's the better jiu-jitsu guy. Yair does not have jiu-jitsu unless it's a triangle off his back. Other than that, he has nothing. So when he's flat down on his back and Ortega's punching him and stuff, and he's rolling around, Ortega's just way better there. And he found a round three, arm triangle? It looks great. But let's be real here. Is Brian Ortega the number 3 ranked featherweight in the world? I don't think so. You know, he held his ranking there for a while after being very inactive. And outside of the Yair win, his only win is against the Korean Zombie in the last 6 years. I like Diego's activity. I like his youth here. I like his explosiveness. I like his athleticism. I like his durability. I like that he's dangerous on the feet. I like that he's dangerous on the ground. And we just saw him go 3 rounds. Now, a lot of people will say, didn't look good in the 3rd round. I didn't think it really looked that bad. You go back and watch it, like, yeah, Dan Ige won the round, but Diego was up 2-0 pretty clearly, and he came out in the 3rd round and just kind of played with him. And Ige, Ige was landing these like ground and pound shots from on top, which is what it is. I don't think Ortega is going to be smashing his face in from on top. And if anything, I think Diego he's just going to take the fight to Ortega early, and Ortega's a slow starter. I think Lopes wins round 1 at a pretty high clip. I think he could win round 2, and then at that point, he's got 5 minutes to survive. I think he could do that. So give me Diego Lopes for a pick. Emo Kid gets it done again. Let's move on. Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko. I'm kind of getting flashbacks with this one because I think about the trilogies and the possible quadrilogy here. Why? Because let's think about the quadrilogy we have seen in the past. It's Brandon Moreno and Davis and Figueiredo. And I had a good run on that quadrilogy, okay? I bet Moreno to beat him the second fight when he submitted him. Bet on that. In the trilogy, Figueiredo was an underdog. I bet on Figueiredo to win that fight. He won. In the quadrilogy, I bet on Moreno to beat Figueiredo. He was a slight dog. He got that one done. And initially, I'm looking at this, and I say, Alexa Grasso. I think Alexa Grasso being the younger fighter, making improvements. She looks like she's closing the gap a little bit on Valentina Shevchenko. But she's the favorite here. And I know this isn't a betting show, but sometimes the betting odds are going to sway me a little bit. And gun to my head type of pick, I'm going to go with Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to go with her. I think she's the better wrestler. She can grapple. I mean, just because she got submitted by her once, she's not going to get submitted again, I don't believe. I think she's the better kickboxer at range. And Alexa, watching the second fight back, had trouble closing the distance when trying to get into boxing range. And I think just at range, Valentina is going to win the minutes. I think she can win minutes from top control. And I think the fight probably does go to a decision. So I'm going to take the long time bet, one of the best in women's MMA, Valentina Shevchenko, as the underdog here. I think I just got to do it. I know it's Noche UFC, but Alexa Grasso, I never really looked at as like some world beater at women's flyweight. And then she became champ, and I guess now all of a sudden she's supposed to be. You know, she won the fight against Valentina as a big underdog, and I didn't have a bet on that fight. The second fight, I actually bet on Grasso to beat her when she was like plus 160. It went to the draw, so the bet got refunded. And now here I think I got to go with Valentina as the underdog here. So give me Valentina. I'm sure she'll have a lot of motivation going into this one, knowing that the first loss wasn't a fluke. The second fight was very close, and she feels like she got robbed. Maybe that helps her, maybe that hurts her, but I'm going to assume, being the veteran she is, that it's going to help her. So give me Valentina. Probably spent a little bit too much time on that one. To the main event, we got Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili. I'm really scared, but I'm going to take Sean O'Malley. I know Merab's going to be super prepared for this fight. He's just going to go balls to the walls, but I think Sean O'Malley's the better fighter. Like, I know the takedown is there. I know Merab's gas tank is unbelievable. I know he's durable. He's never been knocked out, which is a little bit scary. He's pretty good at recovering, but I think Sean O'Malley's just different with his timing, with his accuracy, with his precision, to the point where he can land on Merab. And anytime Merab closes distance, he has to be on his P's and Q's. Like, at any point for 25 minutes, he can get his light shut off, whether it's with a knee, with an uppercut, with a right hand, with a step back right, with a step back left. Could be anything, because Sean's got everything in his bag. He can fight from southpaw. He can fight from orthodox. I think it's there. I'm going to go with Sean O'Malley. I think we hear an and still. And I know Merab's going to be coming in here like it's life or death. Like, this means everything to Merab. And that kind of scares me a little bit, just because I usually tend to like to go with challengers a little bit, especially when they're an underdog. And Sean's kind of move it to the favorite status. But I think Sean's got this one. God, Merab's, there's just so many holes. And the holes will be there if he's not able to hold him down. You know, if Sean's just able to get back up to his feet like a lot of Merab's opponents have, then it's not going to be looking good for Merab, because that's just more opportunities for Sean O'Malley to land shots. Whether they knock him out or not, they're going to be shots. They're going to be damage. I think Sean O'Malley can land more damage throughout the fight, even if it goes to a decision. So give me Sean O'Malley for the pick, and that'll conclude. Appreciate you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Best bets video will be out on Friday with some bets for UFC 306. If you want all my bets, jump in the Home of Fight Picks Premium membership. The link is down in the description. These have been the picks, but they are not bets. Remember that. There's a difference. Till next time, hey, Jai Picks.